Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and it's time that we sat down and took a look at Mad Max. Finally returning, the first video game adaptation of Mad Max in a very, very long time. And here's to hoping that the game can stand aside proudly as a parallel piece of media to Mad Max Fury Road, which I thought was an exceptional film. And I'd like to say that I think it has, in some ways. It's not a perfect game by any means. I think that there is actually some things to be desired when playing it, but overall it's a game that I have had an exceptional amount of fun with, more so than I ever thought I was going to. And I think a big part of it is the game's aesthetic, its approach to atmosphere. Avalanche has absolutely nailed this sort of wasteland desert, and they've done it very well. And you have to admit, they had kind of a big challenge in front of them. When you look at a game like Fallout, whether it be 3 or New Vegas, these are games that take place in populated areas that have now become post-apocalyptic wastelands. This is a frickin' desert. It was kind of already a wasteland. The only thing that really exists here are the buildings and the establishments that have been created by those who still survive in the wasteland. And I think they've done a really, really good job of capturing that. And I also think that this game, just from a pure, visual, graphical standpoint, is absolutely gorgeous. And you know what? I think that Avalanche understands as well, because they've actually included a capture mode. That's right. In-game, you can pause the game at any time, and you can pull out into this camera and pretty much fly wherever you want. I haven't really tested to see just how far it actually goes. Warning, there is quite a bit of frame drop when you do this. Actually, okay, that's as far as we can go. And then you can mess around with a ton of filters, and you can take some really cool pictures of the wasteland. I dig this. I can't wait to see some of the, sort of awesome photos that people actually make with this. So what we're going to do right now, before we even get into this thing, is we're going to make the thumbnail for this video using this exact tool. So let's see, maybe we'll throw a little bit of a filter on this. Maybe, okay, there we go, some teal and orange. I dig that. Let's go back to the camera settings. I think we can increase the field of view here. Let's bump that up a little bit. Go back to the camera, move it about here. I definitely want to capture this chasm here. Just raise the camera up just a little bit. Bring it down. It's the only thing they don't have is an up and down. That would have been nice. There we go. I like that. Maybe get a little bit more of an angle on the car over the top of the chasm there. And then you go ahead and you hit capture image, and then you can use your capture device, whatever you prefer. I'm using DxStory, and capture that image, which we will now use as the thumbnail for this video. Cool thing is that actually has a video mode, and if you plug in a second controller, someone can control it and create cinematic shots while you're playing the game. Don't know what made them think of that. Maybe it was the, Fury Road inspiration, but I love that. It's a small detail, and I think it's so freaking awesome. Who does this guy think he is? Later. Alright, so it's not often that I do, live commentary for my first impressions, but I felt like this game totally worked for it. And I have to be completely honest, I attempted to do a post-recording impressions of the game, and it just didn't work, man. I just felt like I need to play it, I want to show people things piece by piece and talk about the experience. So now we've covered the visual aesthetic of the game and how well I think they've captured atmosphere. And now that we've owned a member of the Scrotus Squad, let's head out and do a little bit of driving. So there is actually one small detail that I've been nerding over super hard. It could have been enhanced, and they would have made me nerd even harder, but it's the focus to making sure that every car creates a dust cloud. Wait, where? Where? What buried car? Oh, hold on a second. This is something new. So, this is something the developers talked about, and this is honestly the second time I've seen this happen. It puts a huge grin on my face, is that they tried to make a focus on saying there are things that you can find outside of what you will actually know exists in the world. And this is one of those things. Question is, I think we have to pull the car out, but this guy wants to fight us. It's a good thing that I've learned the game inherently doesn't allow people to run you over. I really wish it would, because I think the intensity... Yeah, I'm letting it drive off. We'll come back to it later. Time for that, man. I think it would have added a nice layer of intensity, and I think that's if I had to pick one big complaint with the game in the 4.5 hours that I've now played it, it's that it's not hard enough. I wish it was more difficult, and there's no difficulty option at the beginning of the game, so I can't, say that I could have toggled it and made the game harder. If I could have, trust me, I most definitely would have, because the game is much too easy this time around. Sadly, it looks like it was just a bunch of scrap coming out of that. Back into the car we go. So like I was saying, those dust trails, they're a big deal to me, because when I think of like desert type photography and, you know, sort of that cinematic approach, I think of that car in the distance with that giant dust cloud behind it. You can barely see the car. It seems like an ant, but its dust cloud is so large that it races across the barren wasteland. And they've captured that. And I totally dig that. So before we go any further, let's open up the map and kind of see what's going on here. So this is Jeet. He's one of the new friendly characters that I've just recently been introduced to. You can see there's a bunch of stuff that we can do for him. It's basically going to help his stronghold thrive. And in return, he's going to help us improve the build of the Magnum Opus, because we just recently lost Chum's hideout. Sadly, a bunch of scavengers show up and they blew the thing to hell, which was no bueno. So this is the zone that we just recently got into. This is the Balefire Flatlands. You can see we've got the Black Maws down here, and then over the right we've got the Colossus. And then you can zoom out, you can see we've got quite a bit more. It's actually a really big game. There's a lot of stuff to do here. And the game seems to want to push you through it fairly quickly, because while these zones do have activities, none of them are exceptionally interesting. I mean, there's like scarecrows to knock down. A lot of it is like, it's really specific side challenge stuff. It reminds me of Saints Row in a lot of ways, where the game had a lot of stuff to do, but not all of it was going to be interesting to everyone who played it. And I think that's the same thing here with Mad Max. So for me, the convoys are what I enjoy most. And you can see the remnants of a convoy that I've defeated with this green and black line here. Basically, I've already defeated that convoy, and it actually, the convoys are cool because they drop hood ornaments, and you can see the one that I've got on the rear of my car right now, this sort of crazy stretched skull face with horns. So it's a good place to search down some upgrades for your car, actually, are those convoys. We are going to go to the scavenging location right now, though, because I need to get some water. On the way there, we can talk a little bit about the driving. It's a short drive. I feel like they've done a solid job with it. I think there's a little bit of room for improvement. The cars feel a little bit like delayed was my biggest issue. I think in a driving game, when you touch the stick, the car should instantly turn. There shouldn't be this sense of like, okay, I'm turning the wheel, then 10 seconds later the front end steering. If they're trying to capture what it feels like to drive my 1990 pickup truck that has a really screwed up front end, then they've succeeded. But I don't know that that's what they want to actually deliver when we're talking about a video game. So I would have liked to see that refined a little bit more, but it doesn't detract from the experience, and to be honest, you kind of get over it and you learn to adjust after about a half an hour of driving. So time for a little bit of combat. You gotta keep an eye out for these yellow guys, because they often carry shivs, and we don't want to get shivved. At least I'd prefer to not get shivved. So it's the same combat system that, you know, we saw in the game before it released. Nothing spectacular. It's the same sort of system that Rocksteady made familiar with Batman. You've got a 2-button system here. You can use Y to counter, X to do light and heavy attacks. And again, this is another portion of the game where the difficulty really stands out as being way too easy. I found combat to be tremendously simple. And not saying that the mechanics are simple, I'm saying that the enemies just aren't really that intelligent. They don't try to overwhelm you often enough. It's just not hard enough. You're not punished. You're not punished heavily enough when you do miss an attack. You know, it's just, I'd like to see it be more challenging. It's killing me. You know, it's just not hard enough, man. You can really go in and sweep out like 10 or 12 guys with very little challenge. Some of the enemy types that you'll run into early on will have. Oh, we got a project part. That's something new. Okay, so that was what we needed for Judd's stronghold. Cool. Some of them will have like melee weapons. They'll make it a little bit more challenging. You know, there are things you have to watch out for, but once you learn about those and you use like the dodge mechanic and your counter, it all kind of starts to become very simple. So that's really where, you know, when I talk about the game being too easy, that is one of the territories where it's, you know, it's part of the problem.
Why do we stay, Saint? Making for trouble here.
Okay, so let's talk about Chum Bucket. There's a lot of things to talk about in this game, so I'm sorry if we're not spending a lot of time actually playing it. We will get to that, but I do want to talk about some of the important elements and components of the game that I feel are necessary, and Chum Bucket is definitely one of them. Good old Chum here on the back of our car. He's the first character that you meet in the game who doesn't actually try to kill you. And he is also a Blackfinger. He's pretty much like a crazy, eccentric, badass mechanic who you know, lives by the religion that cars are gods, they're angels. And he thinks that Max is actually a saint. So he's like, yeah, I'll help you. And he helps us build the Magnum Opus, is what we're driving right now. This is actually after we lose our black on black, our car that we've spent so much time getting ready to escape with, to wherever the hell Max thinks we're going to escape, and it's taken from us by Scrotus. Good old Chum Bucket comes along, and we start building the Magnum Opus. So he's the guy who actually fires the harpoon on the back of the gun, the vehicle. He'll go out and repair the vehicle when you are away from it. You can actually stop and have him actively repair it. Say you are attacking a convoy like I've done recently and getting owned. He'll actually get out and put the fire out before the whole damn thing explodes into a million pieces, which I don't actually know what happens then, but I imagine it wouldn't be a good thing. Let's go ahead and open up our map here. So we've got a Scarecrow we could take down really quickly. We've got another scavenging location. Griffa is actually in the area. We should probably go visit him. He is the only way you can actually increase Max's abilities. So let's see. We'll take a drive and go visit Griffa. When it comes to the upgrade system and, you know, like the small RPG elements of what is very much an action-adventure game, not an RPG, you have three options. You have Griffa, who upgrades Max's sort of physical stats, more health, you know, the ability to collect more scrap and so on and so forth. And then you have the actual upgrade systems with the cars. Are they going to pass us? I'm waiting to see if they're going to come chase us. Oh, no, here they come. Alright. Bit of a fight time. Or we could just pull him out. I feel like that's always a sound strategy, and now his car is pretty much just gonna sit there empty, and I'm okay with that. So as I was saying, there's also two other upgrade systems. There's one for Max's tool belt, and there's one for the car itself. But first, let's tear down the Scarecrow. Scarecrows are what the Scrotus use to, you know, kind of increase their threat in a territory, and when those aren't around, people worry less about them. And it seems like the Scrotus, you know, they just kind of become thinner in their numbers. But let's see if there's any scrap that dropped. It doesn't look like it. Oh, yeah, there we go. So scrap is important. It's really the main resource in the game, apart from water and food, which will be used to increase your health on a moment-to-moment basis. Scrap is used for everything. It's what you use to craft the new upgrades for your cars. It's what you use to craft the pieces of armor and upgrades for Max, which we'll actually take a look at that right now, because I think I have just enough scrap to buy an upgrade here. So if we go to Max, we can see we've got his whole outfit here, including his shotgun, as well as some of his skills and his tools. We could actually go ahead and upgrade some of these. So there's some melee combat upgrades. For the tools themselves, they're all actually maxed out already. His shotgun, we don't actually have anything unlocked yet. So the big thing about this upgrade system, both for the car and for Max, is that you unlock the ability to purchase upgrades or craft them by increasing your legend rank. Your legend rank is increased by completing challenges. So right now we don't have too much going on. It seems like we're kind of already good to go. There is a bit of visual customization you can do with Max. You can see here that I've got a longer set of beard and more hair. He's kind of got a... I don't know. He's got something going on. Sort of like prequel Star Wars Obi-Wan going on there. We can actually put wrap guards on. These are going to decrease damage taken from failed parries by 10%. Honestly, these upgrades for the melee combat to me are kind of like, why would I want to do this? Like, he already kicks ass, you know? But they are actually really cheap, so let's just go ahead and put the brawler wraps on. It's going to cover up Max's hands a little bit. And then let's take a look at the car, because there's actually quite a lot here, and you can see we've got some new upgrades also in suits. So I want to show you guys the hood ornaments. These actually are cosmetic, and they do provide you with some sort of a bonus. So this one gives us a gained attack bonus, and you'll see that a bunch of these are all unlocked by completing convoys. And it actually tells you the region that they're unlocked in, so you don't have to second guess things. Let's go ahead and install this thing on the front of the car, because I had it on the back this whole time. It just doesn't make sense on the back. I like it on the front. You can put decals on, which I haven't done yet. Maybe we should do that. Let's go with the big gear. This is the same thing that Blackfinger actually has on his back. And then we can change the color of it. Let's go with broken red since the car is black. I really don't like that actually. That's actually kind of quite hideous. Can we change the color? Can we do Dead Man's White? That's a bit better. I'm really not actually a fan of that, but we'll just stick with it for now. You can change the body color. Body colors are unlocked by defeating bosses. So basically you have all these upgrades, and there's a specific place and thing you have to do to unlock just about all of them. We could upgrade our engine, get more acceleration, What I actually wanted to check while I was here was the tires, but yeah, we're good on the tires, armor. Alright, well that's the upgrade system, enough showing you guys that. Let's actually go out and do some stuff. Let's go talk to Griffa, upgrade Max, and then I think we'll hunt down the Convoy in this area, because that's actually a lot of fun. I'm really a big fan of the Convoys. And I hope you guys can understand why I wanted to do a live commentary for this. There's just too much stuff to show off, and rather than try and show off everything in a post-commentary with editing, I'd rather just focus on the stuff that I really have enjoyed doing. And then we can talk, you know, about the negatives along the way. Like I said, I think the game's way too easy. That's really my big one. The game does really look damn good, and it actually runs phenomenally. This is all 60 FPS with VSync, pretty high settings. I got like anisotropic filtering on, all of the extra goodies. And man, the game just looks freaking great. I love it, dude. They really have done a good job. I mean, if this is what Just Cause 3 is gonna look like, I'm all for that. Let's go talk to Griffa. This dude's freaking crazy, man.
Once you had everything. Purpose. Love.
It's the Jez!
Family and friends.
If he happens to watch this video, he's gonna be like, what the?
You drifted far from what you were. But you still lie inside. Don't.
I'm gonna skip it because he just likes to talk a lot of dribble. We have a lot of tokens actually, so we can probably make a lot of upgrades here. You can see we can do Judgment. This is actually going to increase Max's Legend level, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get more water from resources. I'm all about that. The next thing I want to do is scrap, to be honest, because you always need scrap, if I can find it. I know it's somewhere. Here we go. Increases Max ability, more ammo. Okay, I'm gonna do more ammo as well. Ammo is like super useful, but it's actually one of the more rare things in the game. And the nice thing is you can one-shot a lot of the low-level vehicles that have exposed fuel tanks. So I'm all into that. Like this one. Fuel doesn't even go away. That's another thing, right? There's a fuel system in this game, and you wouldn't know it. 4 hours into the game, I've only fueled up the frickin' Magnum Opus once. And the reason I had to do that was because we just built the thing. Of course it didn't have fuel. It's been sitting in a garage. Nobody leaves a fuel tank full of fuel. It's a terrible thing to do. No one leaves one empty either. That's an equally terrible thing to do. Let's see. Oh, we might as well just do this. Like, I didn't realize how many points we had, you know? We'll do the Fury. And then we'll just throw his stuff on attunement and one on intuition. There we go. Confirm. So, yeah, there's fuel for your car, right? And the idea is that you're supposed to keep the car filled up. Well, in the 4.5 hours that I've now played the game, I haven't had to fuel it up since the beginning. Which kind of upsets me. Like, I would have liked to see that be a more annoying mechanic. I mean, it should be annoying. You're in the wasteland. You have to put fuel in the car. I don't think it would have detracted from the experience. I think it would have been nice to force the player to seek out specific locations to gather fuel. Because right now, I don't really have a need for that. And at the same time, the water that you see down on the left side here for our canteen, that's pretty much the only way to heal yourself in combat, right? So when you're actually on foot in these larger outposts, maybe taking on, you know, a bunch of dudes to push through to disable some gas line or whatever, that's the only way to heal yourself during that fight. The thing is, the fights are too easy, so searching for water becomes less important. Again, you can see how much of the game is being affected by the difficulty, and that is really where my problem lies. We need to make a long drive back to this Vantage Outpost. These Vantage Outposts are used to essentially scout the entire zone and reveal all of these smaller locations, of which you can see I didn't even get Olive back in Black Moss, so we'll probably head back there. Oh wait, what's this? A legend encounter. Let's go do this one. This is new. There's a lot of new stuff still popping up for me. Like I said, only 4 hours into the game here. There's some new elements that are appearing. That's one thing I have to say, is that this game already is very apparent that it contains a lot of content, and it wants to force feed it to you. It wants to make you very much decide, what am I going to do next? And what we're going to do next is we're going to use our harpoon on our badass car to tear this guy clear off his tower. Haha. Always feels good. That's for sure. Oh man, it really does. It has a properly good atmosphere. I'm sorry, but this game has made me grin from ear to ear. And this is someone who just got done, you know, spending 2 hours last night, not only playing this, but playing Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. You know, I really have fallen in love with this game quite a lot. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Is this guy way up on top or is he on the road? That's the question here. I'm gonna guess he's above us, but we'll go look here first. Oh, there he is. Alright, Chum, you stay here.
As you wish. But hurry back. This place is prime pickings for raiders,
Whoopsie there.
scavengers, and
Strange
murderers.
gene drift to you. You got some fine wheels rolling there. Is that a nitro boost I spot on an intake? If so, stranger, there'd be some fine spots for you to let that baby soar.
Okay. Use the ramps in the Great White to perform an epic jump. A jump of epic proportion. Oh wait, does she have a fuel tank here? Okay, no, that was just the one on the back of my car. Alright, let's go do an epic jump. So, apart from Chum, honestly, the characters you meet in the game, they are forgettable. It kind of upsets me because I feel like even though that's just a character that's giving me a small side quest, there's an opportunity there to make it that character, you know, unique, to make them, you know, kind of this weird, exotic, funny person. Games have done it for, you know, decades. Like, to me, that's equivalent to the guy who gives you the masks in Majora's Mask just being a really annoying, boring character. You know, why not make that character more interesting, make it more fun, like Chum? Here we go! Oh, man, that was the failed joust of jousts. Alright, so let me show you guys something cool real quick.
This could work as cover.
I actually dig this. I haven't had an opportunity yet to use this, but number one, we can actually collect this vehicle in our stronghold, which is freaking awesome. I love the idea of collecting enemy vehicles, but we can also use it as a scouting device because it's sort of like, it's like undercover, right? You know, the snipers can still spot you. You have to be careful. But you can actually use it as an undercover approach, and I love that. That's super cool. The question is... Oh, wow, that's way up there. Well, let's just do it, right? I mean, there's nothing stopping us from going... Okay, no, there is. We can't go there just yet, so we'll have to wait on that one. Okay, let's set our current quest here. If I can just remember the proper button to do so. Which is the pause, I believe. Story missions. Okay, that's activated. So yeah, you can actually hijack these cars, and some of them are a lot of fun to mess around with. I really dig them. Stir up a nice big dust cloud. Oh yeah. And if we wanted... Let's see, where should we go next? There's just so much stuff to do. It's like, where do I go next? Where are we gonna go? Let's head back to Black Maw and clear up the scavenging location. And we'll take this car, and when we get there, we can actually call good old Chum. And he'll bring the car to us. Let's do it in first person. This is definitely just a cinematic camera view. I find it hilarious that they threw this into the game, but it's actually a lot of fun to mess around with it. It's extremely jarring, but you know what it really makes me hope happens for this game? I don't think there's modding allowed right now on this. Considering it's Avalanche, Just Cause had modding. I have high hopes for some sort of modding that makes a first-person mod for this game, because I think that would be wicked freaking cool, man. Hello. That's one way to take care of those guys, I guess. You know, I have to say, as much as I'm, you know, talking about the combat and saying it's too easy, that doesn't at all mean that it doesn't feel gratifying. It's actually exceptionally enjoyable, considering the situation. What is this guy doing? Look at him. I don't know if he's knocked out or if he's just doing like a crazy burnout over here. Oh, there he is. He was like, you go away, otherwise I'm gonna burn out all day over here. Shivs and melee weapons are another sort of expendable item, so you can actually equip a melee weapon and it'll eventually break. You saw there was a statistic that actually increased the amount of time that we could, you know, use that weapon, and shivs are just great for sort of finishing someone up really quickly. You know, especially in a combat situation where maybe it's best to just get them out of the fight. Again, a lot of mechanics that feel awfully useless because of the difficulty level. What are you gonna do? Let's just go double check out here and make sure we're not missing any pieces of scrap. Each of the different areas will actually tell you when you've 100%'d them in terms of scrap. There's also a lot of the outposts that are basically accomplished the same way, which is what we're actually going to go do right now. Actually, we can't do it right now. What we need to do is get back out to the vantage posts. I'm so easily distracted in this game. It's like I have ADD or something. It's terrible. So let's go ahead and we'll pop a flare. Oh, that's the wrong button, that's why. I don't have any flares. Well then, that's not a good thing. I guess it's a good thing that we didn't blow up this car too. So, let's make it back to our car then. Okay, so the question now is, where did I leave the magnum opus? If we can't call in if we can't call in support with a flare, then I've clearly screwed up. Maybe we're just not in the same zone, that's the problem. Alright, yeah, I see. We got this figured out. Let's just get back in that zone and we'll be good to go. These things are terrible at combat though, that's kind of a small issue. And a very good reason to not do what I just did. Alright, we're back in the zone. Let's go ahead and hide ourselves before we call in good old Chum there. The nice thing is that, like, you know, we're going to this vantage point to get in this blimp, essentially, to scout the area, like I said. But if you wanted, you could just drive the whole area, and you could discover a lot of it yourself if you wanted to. It's, you know, it's completely optional. And, like, there's still some of it that's just not going to show up, you know, just because you're at the scout point. Like that hidden car that we found that was loaded with all that scrap. And that's kind of like, you know, in the 4 hours that I've been playing it now, I found a couple of those hidden areas, and it makes me wish they went a little bit more hardcore on the RPG. Like, it would have been really fun to actually, I don't know, to just, you know, be able to find like a unique weapon or a unique thing for your car. Everything is very predetermined. Like, you know exactly where you're gonna get hood ornaments from. You know exactly where you're gonna get this from. I like a little bit of, like, you know, surprise. And when you just find scrap, like on a hidden car like that, I understand in a more realistic wasteland setting that scrap is like gold, but this is a video game. You know, the ability to explore a little bit more and have a little bit less restriction, like, you know, to climb up hills and to go into weird places. It's just, you know, it very much is an action-adventure game, and I think the game hurts itself a little bit for that. I'd like to see it go a little bit more Fallout, you know, give me some reason to find that counterfeiting cap shack, you know, the equivalent of that in this game. I want to see something like that. Okay. So let's just put this down for now. And enter the balloon. Send. Out of fuel. Okay, well there's a dilemma here then. Because I actually came here, when I was playing earlier today, and I thought this was just bugged, right? I thought it was bugged because I couldn't pour fuel in it. I mean, that's obviously where the fuel goes, right? I think everyone could agree with me on this one, that that is where the damn fuel goes. But I can't pour fuel into it, because it won't let me. So I don't quite understand the issue here. I just have to line up the fuel, line up the throw. We're gonna throw it right into the funnel. Like, it should go right in there. I'm not gonna waste any more time here. It's obviously some sort of an issue, a bug that I really don't feel like screwing around with for hours on end. So let's actually just go. Let's go do some more stuff, some more fun stuff. How about that? Let's check the map. We got another scarecrow there. Oh, here we go. We got a transfer tank camp. Let's go take down one of these. These are more on-foot stuff. Actually, you know what? I really want to find that convoy, man. I'd love to show you guys the convoy. They're so much fun. Even if we couldn't defeat it, like, it would be a lot of fun to go hunt down the convoy and see where it is. So let's actually we'll rip a path, you know, we'll tear along this, and we're bound to run into that convoy at some point. Grab the scrap. Always gotta grab the scrap.
Very risky to slow here.
Alright, it's okay, chum. It's okay, man. Don't worry about it. I know you're afraid. We got this. I mean, we're in the magnum opus. Alright. So convoys are my favorite part of the game thus far. Basically, they're like heavily armored convoys. Oh, is that one of them? It's okay, we took him out. We'll just leave it there. It's like I could destroy it, you know, for the scrap, but I'm just not that in need of scrap right now, so it's not worth taking it down. What's this up here, actually? So yeah, at the head of the convoy, like I said, are those big, heavy, outfitted trucks that will have the hood ornaments, which give you awesome buffs. I mean, they're just a lot of fun. They're probably the best pieces of car combat in the game, I would say. But you have to find them, that's the issue. Once you establish them, though, you can see their route, and then you can kind of set up to take them out, maybe using the sniper rifle to initiate, maybe just barrel out of the desert and use, like, you know, sort of a T-bone tactic to get heavy damage on one of them, but I do know that the convoy in this zone particularly is heavily armored, so we're gonna have to work with that. Let's just keep following this path for now. We spotted one of them, actually, when we were over here earlier, and I blew it off at that point in time, so maybe we can catch up with them. Let's go crazy first-person mode. Can't see a damn thing in it. And we can actually look at Max's face. Oh, so creepy. Alright. It's like maybe it's best to just let them come to us, but I don't know. I really enjoy the convoys, man. It's upsetting when I can't find one. So let's talk a little bit, right? Let's kind of bring this thing to a wrap, because we've experienced a lot of the game that I personally enjoy, and once again, I think this is still a game that, from a viewer's perspective, isn't that exciting. I think that's just inherently how it's built, and at the end of the day, the game is also, it's relatively simple, right? I mean, there's not an extremely extensive amount of stuff going on here. We should take this place out. Wait, what's this? That's not another hidden car, is it? No. You know, it's not really a deep game. There's a lot of the mechanics that I wish were just more expanded or more well thought out. They feel simplistic, but at its core, they nail the atmosphere. The audio, the visual design there is so on point for me. I feel like I'm a part of the wasteland, which is why the more I play the game, the more I'm like, screw Max, let me be my own character in the wasteland. They could have taken this so much further. But as an action-adventure game, I think it does a good job of capturing, you know, Max, and they're obviously trying to tell a story. And they're trying to do things with that. So I think a lot of people are going to have varying degrees of enjoyment with this game. And I've been hearing a lot of stuff about the reviews being, you know, all over the place, and I think that's just the nature of a game like this. You know, some people are more tolerant of repetitious activities, and for some people, like myself, you know, when you look at the way everything else is handled, the way the atmosphere is handled, I can get over, you know, things like repetition, and I can really fall in love with a game like this, which I very much have. So let's go ahead and finish this off with a bang. We can't actually engage this thing. Like, what the hell has it got on there? Is that a grenade launcher? Are those fuel tanks? Let's find out, shall we? I think I'm actually out of ammunition for my sniper rifle. Yes, I am. Well, that's no bueno. Back into the car we go. Looks like we're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. Get ready, chum. That's 2 perimeter defenses down. So we've got a couple entry points into the actual thing here. So all you chum, watch the car, I'm going in. So let's do a little bit of on-foot wet work before we close this thing up. It's the Raggedy Man. Is that what they're calling me these days? I should probably shave, that's a shame. I just thought I was a pretty, charming looking gentleman. I should add that there is a bit of a timer thing with the counter. If you haven't noticed, you can actually time your counter to get a perfect counter, which will help increase your possibilities of entering Fury a little bit more, which is basically Max's badass mode. Or as the War Boys would say, he's got the blood rage in his eyes. And then he can do some pretty crazy like body slams and stuff, which are really enjoyable as well. It's a satisfying combat system, to say the least. Just too damn easy, though. As I've said too many times before. Alright. Well, I'm gonna finish cleaning out this thing. And at the end of the day, the final words that I can say for Max is that this is a game that I personally really enjoy. I think you have to look very deeply at some gameplay for the game, understand what it offers. I think I highlighted a lot of that in this video. I hope I did. That was the point of it. And decide whether or not those are components that you're going to enjoy, whether or not the world is enough to really take you in and you're going to be okay with a lot of the repetition activity that each of the zones feature. Because, you know, mixed in with all of that is a really enjoyable environment. Someplace that's a lot of fun to be in. And it does indeed capture the Mad Max universe quite well. For me personally, I think the game is a go-to. Grab it up. However, at this point in time, there are a lot of other huge titles releasing. Metal Gear Solid 5. It would be one of those. For a lot of people, there are games that, you know, are providing a high level of persistence to Taken King. Games that are really going to take up a lot of your time. And this is an open world game. It is going to take up quite a bit of your time to finish. So I think you have to ask yourself, you know, is this something I need to add to my arsenal? You know, do I need another open world game right now? I think that even if you don't pick Max up, you know, this month, I think that you should keep an eye on it. Maybe grab it for yourself come this holiday. Ask for it as a Christmas present because it's a game that is most definitely worth enjoying. I could see myself really having a good time come winter. Get this as a gift. Spend some time hiding from the cold, enjoying the barren wastelands that is Mad Max. If you guys have any other questions for me, anything that I did not mention in this video that you'd like to hear my thoughts on, please let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer. And I hope that one day, much like myself, you'll be tearing down the deep desert roads of the wasteland in your own magnum opus with your very own Blackfinger on board. Something like that, right? Sometimes those go really good and sometimes they go really, really bad. Take care.